I'm elbow deep in the engine bay of my rusted pickup when I hear Laura's phone ring in the kitchen. Her voice drops to that breathy whisper I haven't heard directed at me in months. "Yes, I'll wear the red lipstick you like," she purrs through the screen door. I wipe grease off my hands and call back, "Hey babe, can you grab milk on your way home?" She waves dismissively, still cooing into the phone. "Of course, Nathan. I can't wait either." Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Nathan, her boss. The managing partner at Cormack, Stevens & Associates, who drives a BMW and wears suits that cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. That night, while Laura showers off her long day at the office, I slip into our bedroom and find her makeup bag. The red lipstick sits right on top. Chanel Rouge, $68. I know because I bought it for her birthday last month, back when I still thought her new enthusiasm for looking good was for me. I unscrew the tube and examine the perfectly shaped tip. Then I walk to my toolbox and retrieve a small vial of industrial dye, the kind we use to mark metal parts at my engineering firm. Colorless, odorless, and absolutely permanent once it sets. With surgical precision, I coat the lipstick with a thin layer of the dye. It dries clear, invisible. But the moment it touches skin and mixes with natural oils, it turns a brilliant, indelible red that won't wash off for days. "Mike?" Laura calls from the bathroom. "Did you say something about milk?" "Just thinking out loud, sweetheart," I reply, carefully replacing the lipstick exactly where I found it. The next morning, Laura applies her makeup with unusual care. She's attending the quarterly legal conference downtown, the biggest networking event of the year for every lawyer, judge, and legal professional in our mid-sized Massachusetts town. "You look beautiful," I tell her, and I mean it. Even after 15 years of marriage, even knowing what I know, she still takes my breath away. She kisses my cheek, leaving a faint red mark. "Thanks, honey. This conference is really important for my career." I watch her BMW disappear down Maple Street, then check my reflection in the hallway mirror. The lipstick mark on my cheek is already darkening to a deep crimson that won't budge no matter how hard I scrub. Perfect. At 10:30, I drive downtown to Brennan's Diner, directly across from the Marriott where the conference is being held. I order coffee and position myself at the window booth with a clear view of the hotel entrance. At 11:15, Nathan Cormack emerges from the hotel lobby. Even from across the street, I can see the brilliant red smears covering the left side of his face and neck. He's talking animatedly on his phone, gesturing with his free hand, completely oblivious to the stares from passing pedestrians. Behind him, Laura appears in the doorway. Her lips are still perfectly red, but matching smears decorate her right cheek, jawline, and the collar of her cream-colored blouse. She's laughing at something Nathan said, touching his arm in a way that makes my coffee taste like acid. They stand there for a full 2 minutes. Two successful professionals marked like teenagers after a makeout session, while a steady stream of their colleagues flows past them into the hotel. Judge Morrison does a double-take. District Attorney Walsh actually stops walking and stares. By the time Laura and Nathan notice the attention they're attracting, at least 30 people have seen them. Laura frantically pulls out her compact mirror. I watch her face transform from confusion to horror, to pure panic as she realizes the red marks won't come off. Nathan tries to help, scrubbing at his face with a handkerchief, only succeeding in spreading the stain further. They retreat into the hotel, but the damage is done. In a town where everyone knows everyone, where legal careers are built on reputation and respectability, they might as well have worn matching scarlet letters. My phone buzzes with a text from my neighbor, Mrs. Driscoll. "Saw your wife on Channel 8 News. Something about a makeup malfunction at the legal conference. Poor dear looked so embarrassed." I finish my coffee and leave a generous tip. Phase 1, complete. 3 days later, I'm nursing a beer at the Anchor, the dive bar where half the town comes to drink and the other half comes to gossip. Eddie Delgado, who owns both the bar and the boxing gym upstairs, slides another Budweiser across the scarred wooden bar. "You hear about that lawyer lady and her boss?" Eddie asks, his weathered face creased with amusement. "Word is they showed up to some fancy conference looking like they'd been making out in a high school hallway." "No kidding," I say, keeping my voice neutral. "My cousin Rosa works at the hotel, says they were all over each other in the elevator, then came out looking like clowns. The whole legal community's talking about it." I take a long sip of beer. People talk too much in this town. Ain't that the truth? Speaking of which, how's Laura handling all the attention? That's the million-dollar question. Laura came home that night white-faced and silent. She locked herself in our bedroom and made a series of hushed phone calls. When I asked about her day, she snapped that I wouldn't understand the pressures of professional life. She's dealing with it, I tell Eddie. Good thing you trust your wife, Mike. Otherwise, a man might start wondering why she's got lipstick all over her boss. I meet his eyes in the mirror behind the bar. Eddie's been my friend since high school. He's seen me through my father's death, my mother's cancer, and the lean years when I was building my engineering business from nothing. He knows me better than almost anyone. Yeah, I say. Good thing. The bar door opens with a rusty squeal, and Ray Kowalski walks in. My former business partner and current pain in the ass. Ray sold me his share of Kavanagh Engineering 5 years ago when his gambling debts got too deep. Now he works freelance IT consulting and spends most of his time bitter that I've made the company successful without him. Well, well, Ray says, sliding onto the stool next to me. If it isn't Mike Kavanagh, the most trusting husband in Millfield. Ray. I don't look at him. Shouldn't you be somewhere losing money you don't have? Funny you mention money. I hear your wife's been spending a lot lately. New clothes, fancy dinners, hotel rooms. He signals Eddie for a drink. Of course, maybe that's just lawyer stuff. My grip tightens on the beer bottle. What's your point, Ray? No point, just making conversation. Though I did see Laura's BMW at the Riverside Motel last Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday. He accepts his whiskey from Eddie and raises it in a mock toast. To professional development. The Riverside Motel. A rundown place on Route 9 where truckers and cheating spouses rent rooms by the hour. I've driven past it 1,000 times and never given it a second thought. You sure about that? I ask. Positive. I was doing some work for the auto parts store next door. Couldn't help but notice that fancy BMW in the parking lot 3 days running. Same time each day too, noon to 2. I finish my beer and stand up. Thanks for the information. Mike? Ray grabs my arm as I turn to leave. I know we've had our differences, but I'm telling you this as a friend. Whatever's going on, you deserve better. I look down at his hand on my arm until he releases me. I'll keep that in mind. Outside the Anchor, the October air is sharp with the promise of winter. I sit in my pickup for a long moment, watching the neon beer signs flicker in the bar's windows. Then I pull out my phone and scroll through Laura's recent credit card statements, which I can access through our joint account. Riverside Motel, 89 Palandrinanan, October 15th. Riverside Motel, 89 Palandrinanan, October 16th. Riverside Motel, 89 Palandrinanan, October 17th. The charges go back 6 weeks. I start the engine and drive home to our quiet house on Elm Street, where my wife of 15 years is probably crafting another lie about her day at the office. The next Tuesday, I call in sick to work for the first time in 3 years. At 11:30, I park my pickup behind the abandoned gas station across from the Riverside Motel and wait. At 11:55, Laura's BMW pulls into the motel parking lot. She parks in the far corner, away from the road, and hurries to room 237 without looking around. She's wearing the black dress I complimented her on last week and carrying the overnight bag she claims to use for gym clothes. At noon exactly, Nathan Cormack's silver Mercedes arrives. He parks next to Laura's car and walks to the same room with the confidence of a man who owns everything he touches. I sit there for 2 hours, watching their cars and feeling something cold and hard crystallize in my chest. This isn't a moment of weakness or a mistake born of too much wine at an office party. This is methodical, planned. They have a system. At 2 o'clock, Nathan emerges first. He's straightening his tie and checking his phone, already transitioning back to his role as respected legal professional. Laura follows 5 minutes later, sunglasses on despite the overcast sky. They don't kiss goodbye or exchange any visible affection. Nathan gets in his Mercedes and drives toward downtown. Laura heads in the opposite direction, probably to establish an alibi, shopping, errands, anything to explain the gap in her day. I wait until both cars disappear, then drive to the motel office. The clerk is a thin man in his 60s with yellowed teeth and the look of someone who's seen everything and been surprised by none of it. "Help you?" he asks without looking up from his crossword puzzle. "I think my wife might be having an affair," I say. Room 237. Now he looks at me. "Mister, I don't get involved in domestic situations." I pull out my wallet and place a $100 bill on the counter. "I'm not asking you to get involved. I just want to know how long this has been going on." He stares at the money for a long moment, then slides it into his shirt pocket. "Lady in the BMW started renting that room about 2 months ago. Always pays cash, always books it for the same 2 hours. Professional type, polite, minds her own business. And the man in the Mercedes? Shows up right on schedule. They're quiet, clean, no trouble." He shrugs. In my line of work, you learn not to judge. I thank him and drive home, where I find Laura in the kitchen preparing dinner. She's changed into jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looks like the woman I married, the woman I thought I knew. "How was your day?" she asks, not looking up from the cutting board where she's dicing onions. "Quiet. Caught up on some paperwork. How about you?" "Busy. Depositions, client meetings, the usual." She scrapes the onions into a hot pan where they sizzle and pop. I had lunch with Janelle from HR. She says the partners are finally taking notice of my work. Janelle Morrison, Nathan's sister-in-law and the firm's human resources director. Another piece of the puzzle clicks into place. "That's great, honey. I'm proud of you." She smiles at me over her shoulder, and for a moment I almost believe the lie, almost convince myself that I misunderstood what I saw, that there's an innocent explanation for the hotel rooms and the lipstick and the way Nathan touches her arm. Then I notice the red mark on her neck, just below her ear, faint but unmistakable, a mark that matches the size and shape of Nathan Cormack's mouth. "I think I'll skip dinner," I say. "I'm not feeling well." "Oh no. Is it your stomach again? I can make you some tea?" "No thanks. I just need to lie down." I retreat to our bedroom and close the door. Then I sit on the edge of our bed, the bed we've shared for 15 years, where we conceived the children we never had, where we made promises we apparently didn't mean, and planned my next move. Eddie's boxing gym occupies the second floor above the anchor, reached by a narrow staircase that smells like sweat and old leather. The space is cramped and poorly ventilated, with 2 rings, a collection of heavy bags, and equipment that's seen better decades. I've been coming here 3 times a week for the past month, ever since I confirmed Laura's affair. Tonight, I'm working the heavy bag with an intensity that's drawn Eddie's attention. "You're gonna hurt yourself, Mike," he says, holding the bag steady as I throw combinations. "What's eating you?" I pause, breathing hard, sweat stinging my eyes. Around us, a handful of other men work out in companionable silence. This is a place where problems are solved with physical effort, where complications get simplified into the basic equation of fist-meeting target. "Laura's cheating on me," I say. Eddie's hands tighten on the bag. "You sure?" "Positive. Her boss, Nathan Cormack. They've been meeting at the Riverside Motel twice a week for 2 months." "Jesus, Mike. I'm sorry." I resume hitting the bag, each punch punctuating my words. "The lipstick thing at the conference? That was me. I doctored her makeup with industrial dye." Eddie grins despite the circumstances. "No shit? That was you? The whole town's still talking about it." Phase 1 of what I'm calling the Shatterpoint Protocol. The what now? I stop punching and lean against the bag. In engineering, the shatter point is the exact amount of stress a material can handle before it breaks completely. Not bends, not cracks, shatters into pieces that can't be put back together. "And you're planning to find Laura's shatter point?" "Laura's, Nathan's, and anyone else who's been lying to me." I pull off my gloves and reach for my water bottle. "I've been thinking about this for weeks, Eddie. They humiliated me. Made me look like a fool in my own town. Now it's my turn." Eddie leans against the ropes of the nearest ring. He's 53 years old, built like a fire hydrant, with scarred knuckles and the kind of street wisdom that comes from growing up hard. If anyone would understand the logic of revenge, it's him. "What do you need?" he asks. "Information. This town runs on gossip, and you hear everything that matters. I need to know who else knows about the affair, who's covering for them, and what other secrets they're hiding." "I can do that." "Ooh. What else?" "Nathan Cormack has never been in a real fight in his life. I want to change that." Eddie's grin turns predatory. "Now you're talking my language." We spend the next hour planning. Eddie agrees to spread certain rumors through his network of bartenders, cab drivers, and small business owners, the people who see everything and talk to everyone. He'll also help me arrange a confrontation with Nathan that will be public enough to cause maximum embarrassment, but private enough to avoid legal consequences. As we're closing up the gym, Eddie asks, "What about your friends? Tom and Jennifer Walsh, the Hendersons, that crowd you and Laura used to hang with?" I pause in the act of locking my gear bag. Our social circle, the couples we've known for years, who we vacation with and invite to barbecues. I haven't thought about how they fit into this. "What about them?" "Mike, if Laura's been cheating for 2 months, some of them have to know. Wives talk to wives. People see things. The question is, who's been keeping secrets?" The possibility hits me like a punch to the gut. Our friends, people I trust, people I've helped move houses and loaned money to and considered family, might have been watching me play the fool while they whispered behind my back. "I'll find out," I say. And if they've been covering for her? I shoulder my bag and head for the stairs. Then they'll learn what happens when you choose the wrong side. The confrontation comes sooner than expected. On Friday night, Tom and Jennifer Walsh invite us to their annual Halloween dinner party. It's a tradition going back 8 years. Good food, too much wine, and the kind of comfortable conversation that comes from long friendship. Laura spends an hour getting ready, changing outfits 3 times before settling on a black cocktail dress that shows off her figure. She's been more attentive lately, more affectionate, as if she senses something shifting between us. "You look handsome," she says, adjusting my tie. "I love when you wear this suit." "Thanks, you look beautiful too." And she does. That's the hell of it. Even knowing what I know, even planning what I'm planning, she can still make my heart skip. The Walsh house is decorated with tasteful Halloween touches. Carved pumpkins, autumn leaves, candles that smell like cinnamon and apple. Tom greets us at the door with his usual bear hug and booming laugh. "Mike, Laura, come in, come in. Jennifer's made enough food to feed half the town." We're the last to arrive. The Hendersons are already there, along with the Kowalskis, no relation to my former partner Ray, and the Mercados. Our core group, the people we've celebrated birthdays and anniversaries with, who we call when we need help or just want to talk. The evening starts normally. We catch up on work and family, discuss local politics, complain about the weather. I nurse a single beer while everyone else drinks freely, keeping my head clear for what's coming. After dinner, while the men retreat to Tom's den and the women clean up in the kitchen, I excuse myself to use the bathroom. Instead, I slip into Tom's home office and access his computer, which he's left logged in to Facebook. It takes me less than 5 minutes to find what I'm looking for. In a private message thread from 6 weeks ago, Jennifer has shared photos from a restaurant downtown. In the background of one picture, clearly visible at a corner table, are Laura and Nathan sharing what's obviously an intimate dinner. The message thread includes Jennifer, Susan Henderson, and Maria Mercado. Their conversation makes my blood run cold. Jennifer: "Isn't that Laura Kavanagh with her boss?" Susan: "Oh my God, yes, they look awfully cozy." Maria: "Should we say something to Mike?" Jennifer: "I don't know. Maybe it's just business." Susan: "Business dinners don't usually involve hand-holding." Maria: "Poor Mike. He has no idea." Jennifer: "Let's keep this between us for now. No point in stirring up trouble if it's nothing." The thread continues for several messages, with all 3 women agreeing to keep an eye on the situation while saying nothing to me. They've known for 6 weeks. 6 weeks of dinner parties and casual conversations and friendly smiles, all while knowing my wife was cheating on me. I close the computer and return to the den, where Tom is telling a story about his latest golf game. Everyone laughs at the punchline, including me. I'm getting good at pretending everything is normal. "Mike," David Henderson says, "how's business? I heard you landed that contract with the state." "Going well. We're actually expanding, looking to hire 2 more engineers." "That's fantastic. Laura must be proud." "Oh, she is. She's been very supportive of my success." The conversation continues, light and meaningless, while I watch these people who've been lying to me for weeks. They're good at it, I'll give them that. No awkward glances, no telling silences. They've had practice. When we rejoin the women in the living room, I make my move. "This has been wonderful," I say, raising my beer bottle. "I want to make a toast." Everyone gathers around, holding their drinks. "To friendship," I begin, looking each person in the eye. "To the people we trust with our secrets, who we count on to be honest with us even when it's difficult." Nods and murmurs of agreement. "To loyalty, and to having the courage to tell the truth even when it might hurt." Laura squeezes my arm, smiling up at me. Jennifer and Susan exchange a quick glance. "And finally," I continue, "to my beautiful wife Laura, who's been working so hard lately. All those long hours, all those business dinners and client meetings. I'm sure it's exhausting, spending so much time with her boss, Nathan Cormack." The room goes dead silent. Laura's smile freezes. Jennifer's face goes white. I continue conversationally. "It must be difficult maintaining a professional relationship when you're also having an affair with the man. All that sneaking around, all those lies." "The Riverside Motel isn't exactly the Four Seasons, is it, honey?" Laura jerks away from me like I've slapped her. "Mike, what are you—" "And I have to admire our friends," I interrupt, turning to face Jennifer, Susan, and Maria. Such loyalty, such discretion, keeping Laura's secret for 6 weeks, making sure I stayed in the dark. That's real friendship, isn't it? The silence stretches until Tom clears his throat. "Mike, maybe we should—" "Should what, Tom? Pretend this isn't happening? Keep protecting the cheaters and liars?" I set down my beer and look around the room. Everyone here knew except me. Everyone here chose to protect Laura and humiliate me. It wasn't like that, Jennifer says weakly. No? Then what was it like? Because from where I stand, it looks like my wife's been screwing her boss while my friends watched and said nothing. Laura finally finds her voice. Mike, please, let's go home and talk about this privately. Privately? Like you and Nathan talk privately twice a week at that motel? Like our friends talked privately about what a fool I was? I head for the door. Don't bother coming home tonight, Laura. I've changed the locks. Behind me, the room erupts in voices. Laura crying, Jennifer trying to explain, Tom demanding to know what's going on. I don't look back. Phase 2, complete. The next morning, I'm drinking coffee in my kitchen when Nathan Cormack pulls into my driveway. He's driving his Mercedes, wearing weekend casual clothes that probably cost more than most people make in a week. I watch him through the window as he sits in his car for a moment, probably rehearsing whatever speech he's prepared. Then he gets out and walks to my front door with the confident stride of a man who's used to getting his way. The doorbell rings. I take my time answering it. Mike, he says when I open the door, we need to talk. Do we? I can't imagine what we'd have to discuss. He's taller than me by a few inches, with the kind of polished good looks that come from expensive grooming and a life free from physical labor. Standing on my front porch in his pressed khakis and polo shirt, he looks like he's stepped out of a country club brochure. May I come in? No, say whatever you came to say from there. His jaw tightens slightly. He's not used to being denied. Laura told me about last night, about what you said at the party. Did she also tell you about the industrial dye in her lipstick? The one that marked both of you at the legal conference? For the first time, his composure cracks. That was you? Guilty as charged, though not as guilty as you and my wife. He takes a breath, visibly collecting himself. Mike, I understand you're upset, but this situation doesn't have to get ugly. Laura and I, what we have is real. She's going to file for divorce. Is she? And I suppose you'll be there to comfort her through this difficult time? We didn't plan for this to happen, but sometimes people fall in love. I lean against the doorframe, studying his face. Love? Is that what you call sneaking around motel rooms and lying to everyone? How romantic. Look, I know this is hard for you to accept, but Laura deserves to be happy. She deserves to be with someone who appreciates her intelligence, her ambition. Someone like you, someone like me. I nod thoughtfully. You know what, Nathan? You're absolutely right. Laura does deserve to be happy, and you deserve to get exactly what's coming to you. His eyes narrow. Is that a threat? It's a promise. See, you made a mistake when you decided to humiliate me in my own town. You thought I was just some blue-collar nobody who'd roll over and let you take my wife. You thought wrong. I step closer, and he automatically steps back. For all his polish and education, Nathan Cormack has probably never been in a real confrontation in his life. Here's what's going to happen, I continue. You're going to find out what it feels like to have your reputation destroyed, your career ruined, your comfortable life turned upside down, and when you're sitting in the wreckage wondering how it all went so wrong, you'll remember this conversation. You can't intimidate me, Mike. I'm not trying to intimidate you, Nathan. I'm educating you. There's a difference. He turns to leave, then stops and looks back. Laura was right about you. You are small. Small and bitter and pathetic. Maybe, but I'm also very, very angry. And unlike you, I know how to fight. He gets in his Mercedes and drives away, tires spinning on the gravel. I watch until he disappears around the corner, then go back inside to make another pot of coffee. My phone rings 20 minutes later. It's Laura. Mike, please, we need to talk. Talk to your lawyer. I'm staying at Jennifer's. Nathan told me what you said to him. You can't threaten people like that. I didn't threaten anyone. I made a promise. What's happened to you? This isn't like you. You're right. The old Mike would have suffered in silence, maybe drunk himself to death while you and Nathan lived happily ever after. But the old Mike is gone, Laura. You killed him. There's a long pause. When she speaks again, her voice is smaller, more vulnerable. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen, and now we all have to live with the consequences. What do you want from me? Nothing. I don't want anything from you ever again. I hang up and turn off my phone. Then I call Eddie. It's time, I tell him. You sure about this? I've never been more sure of anything in my life. All right then, let's give this town something to really talk about. The Millfield Community Center hosts a monthly boxing exhibition where Eddie showcases his fighters and raises money for local charities. It's always well attended. Families, couples, local business owners, anyone looking for entertainment on a Saturday night. This month's event is special. Eddie has arranged for Nathan Cormack to participate. The setup was elegant in its simplicity. Eddie spread word through his network that Nathan had been talking trash about local fighters, claiming that his expensive gym membership and personal trainer made him tougher than any small-town amateur. The story grew in the telling, as stories do, until half the town believed Nathan had directly insulted Eddie's fighters. When Eddie confronted Nathan at his country club, offering him a chance to back up his words in a charity exhibition match, Nathan's pride wouldn't let him refuse, especially not with his golf buddies watching. The community center is packed. I arrive early and take a seat in the front row, where I have a clear view of both the ring and the audience. Laura is here, sitting with Jennifer and the other wives who betrayed me. She keeps glancing in my direction, her face pale and worried. Nathan enters the makeshift locker room area looking confident. He's in good shape. I'll give him that. His personal trainer has built him a respectable physique, and he moves with the self-assurance of someone who's never been truly tested. Eddie announces the evening's matches, saving Nathan's bout for last. And in our final exhibition, we have Nathan Cormack, managing partner at Cormack, Stevens & Associates, taking on local favorite Mike Kavanagh. The crowd murmurs with surprise. They weren't expecting me to fight. Neither was Nathan, judging by the shocked look on his face. "What is this?" he demands, cornering Eddie near the ring. "You said you wanted to prove yourself against local fighters," Eddie replies innocently. "Mike's been training here for 2 months. Seemed like a fair matchup." Nathan looks across the ring at me as I warm up, hitting the pads with Eddie. I've lost 15 pounds since I started boxing, and the work has carved definition into my arms and shoulders. More importantly, I've learned to take a punch and keep moving forward. "This is a setup," Nathan says. "It's an opportunity," Eddie corrects. "You can back out if you want. Forfeit. I'm sure everyone will understand." But Nathan can't back down, not with the whole town watching, not with Laura in the audience. His pride won't let him. The fight is scheduled for 3 rounds, 2 minutes each. Headgear and 16-ounce gloves, strictly amateur rules. Eddie will referee. As we touch gloves in the center of the ring, I lean close to Nathan. "This is for every lie you made me live," I whisper. The bell rings. Nathan comes out aggressive, trying to end things quickly with wild haymakers that miss by inches. He's strong and fast, but he telegraphs every punch. I slip his shots and work the body, short hooks to his ribs that make him grunt and back away. By the end of the first round, he's breathing hard. By the middle of the second, he's in trouble. I don't try to knock him out. Instead, I systematically break him down. Body shots that sap his strength, jabs that snap his head back, combinations that overwhelm his defense. Every punch carries 2 months of rage and humiliation. In the third round, Nathan's legs are gone. He's holding on, trying to survive, while I methodically dismantle what's left of his dignity. The crowd is on its feet, cheering for the local underdog who's giving the arrogant lawyer exactly what he deserves. With 30 seconds left, I catch Nathan with a perfect right hand to the solar plexus. He doubles over, gasping for air, and I step back to let him fall. Eddie counts him out at 8. The crowd erupts. As Nathan sits on his stool, head in his hands, I climb onto the middle rope and address the audience. "Ladies and gentlemen," I call out, my voice carrying over the noise, "I want to thank you all for coming tonight. This fight was about more than boxing. It was about truth, about what happens when people think they can take what doesn't belong to them." I point to Nathan, who's still struggling to catch his breath. "This man has been having an affair with my wife for 3 months. They thought they were smarter than me, better than me. They thought I'd never fight back." The crowd goes silent. Laura stands up, her face white with shock. "They were wrong," I continue, "and so were the people who knew about it and said nothing, the friends who chose to protect the liars instead of telling the truth." I climb down from the ropes and walk to where Laura is sitting. "It's over," I tell her. "All of it. The marriage, the lies, the pretending. You want Nathan? You can have him, but you'll have him as the laughingstock of this town, not as the respected lawyer he used to be." I turn to address Jennifer, Susan, and Maria. "And as for you 3, you made your choice. You chose to protect her instead of me. I hope it was worth losing a friend." I walk out of the community center to thunderous applause, leaving Nathan broken in the ring and Laura crying in the stands. Outside, Eddie catches up with me. "Feel better?" he asks. "Actually, yeah, I do. What now?" I look back at the community center, where the crowd is still buzzing with excitement and scandal. Now I disappear for a while. Let the town digest what just happened. When I come back, I'll be the guy who stood up for himself. They'll be the people who got exactly what they deserved. And Laura? Laura made her choice. She chose Nathan. Now she gets to live with the consequences of that choice, just like I had to live with the consequences of trusting her. I get in my pickup and drive home to my empty house, where I pack a bag and prepare for the next chapter of my life. The old Mike Kavanagh died the day he discovered his wife's betrayal. The new Mike Kavanagh was born tonight in that boxing ring, and he's just getting started.